Clay, you're an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. And as they say in Stoic, the obstacle is the way. And so if you let these pinheads get in your way, you're in trouble. Acta non verba is the motto of the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy at Kings Point, New York. I had appointments to Naval Academy and Kings Point Merchant Marine Academy. And Merchant Marine Academy's motto was acta non verba. In other words, don't listen to what a person says. Watch what they do. Clay, my honor to be on your show. And thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? People rave about what they learn from you. So congratulations.
My name is Kevin Thomas, and the name of our company is MultiClean. We are a commercial janitorial service, and we serve the entire state of Oklahoma and Kansas and soon to be Arkansas. We have probably grown probably 5 times. We've added, I think when we first started with you, we had 60 to 65 employees. And now we have a little over 300 employees. Before we got involved with Thrive Time, we didn't really have any systems or processes in place. I've probably been to, in 6-7 years, I've probably been to 12 to 13 business conferences. And amazingly, each time I go, I learn something new, and I'm so excited to bring it back and show the team about marketing and how to implement, how to help you guys implement the SEO. And the coaching is just great because there's accountability, and it's just a fantastic way to grow your company. Having a relationship with Thrive Time it's just been amazing for MultiClean. Oh my goodness, it frees me up because then I don't have to take a class on search engine optimization or learn marketing or shoot video. That's not what we do. What we do is commercial janitorial service. And you guys are the experts on marketing, and you teach me and hold my hand and show me how to do it right. And therefore, now my company is much, much larger.
Folks, on today's show, we're joined by a real client. He may look like a male model. He may look like a hologram, but he's a real person. He's a longtime client. He's a man that we consider to be a friend of the Thrive Time Show and a friend of mine. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Kevin. Welcome onto the Thrive Time Show. How are you, sir?
Clay, I'm doing great. Had a great Christmas holiday, and I'm glad to be here.
Okay, so first question, can you tell us what is your name, first and last name, and what's the name of your company, sir?
My name is Kevin Thomas, and the name of our company is MultiClean. We are a commercial janitorial service, and we serve the entire state of Oklahoma and Kansas and soon to be Arkansas.
And how long have we worked with you approximately at this point, sir?
It's been about 6-7 years.
Welcome back to the Mel K Show. We are watching a lot of things happen out there, and what I know is that this is the time for you to empower yourself to take the future into your own hands. We are in unprecedented times. We are seeing things not just here, but around the world shift, particularly the international banking cartel is not liking what's happening. The whole tariff thing, the whole reorganization. We have been looted and lied to nonstop about the financial situation, about the Fed, about gold, about everything. And people are wondering what to do. Well, I think that people right now should decide for themselves what their future looks like and take it in their own hands, because there will be a lot of capital coming into the United States, and we need to rebuild Main Street. And that means you need to get involved, whether you already have a business, you want to start a small business, you're thinking of something. There is a clip also I wanted to play, and I have the great Clay Clark here to talk about how to do just that. Clay, can we play that clip? I think it'll speak to a lot of people out there, and jump off from there.
Absolutely. Let me pull it up here. I've got this in our stack of stuff. I have this super clip. Give me a second here. This is a man, the headline says, in my 50s and I may never get hired again. Let me hit play. Here we go.
That's a pretty scary thought. And if you're over 50, I guarantee you're going to have it too. I'm 58. And I just realized that I may never work again. I may never have a job. again. Now, I'll make money, but I may never get hired by anyone ever again to go work for an organization or a company. Doesn't matter how good I am. Doesn't matter my skill set, what I do, have done. Doesn't matter how well I interview. The fact of the matter is, I very likely have aged out. I'm 58. And look, you can sit there and, throw sunshine on it all you want about ageism is bad. Yeah, but it's also real. And when I thought about that, I thought, okay, if I went for a job, and I did last year, I tried last year. I've been an entrepreneur forever, but I tried to actually get a job working for a company last year. It was just a miserable experience. And I've got to thinking about that, how I'm perceived, how people my age are perceived. And just, getting a job's tough, whoever you are, whatever age you are. But just now, with statistics saying, I say statistics, reports rather, saying that a majority of hiring managers and recruiters feel that, I think it's either 54 or 57, is too old to even work. So what the hell are you going to do? I mean, is it like Logan?
So,
I wanted to address that because I had a bank for almost 20 years. And I was 50 when we had to wind that down after 2008 because we were too small to save. Anyway, it was impossible for me to get interviews, to get a job, and it just wasn't working. I had to do my own thing. The other thing I want to talk about is that we have a son who's going to be 21 in a few weeks, 2 weeks, and he's on a summer internship, and he went to one of the big accounting consulting companies on a field trip during his internship. He's a white male, and they told him in no uncertain terms when he asked them how he would apply, they said that they were looking for more diversity. So not only can you age out, but you can, white male out, and you can, under diversity out, and then you can get AI'd out, as you were talking about before we got started.
right. So we need to really talk to each other about, so what are we going to do about this? Clay, why don't you tell us what we can do about our futures?
I'm going to just throw out some things. And I'm not talking about Rob. I'm not talking about Mel. I'm not talking about anybody. I'm just talking to myself on this microphone about myself, I guess. But no, I don't even feel attacked by the words I'm going to say, but this is just how I perceive the world here. When I started my first company, DJconnection.com, and I don't think anybody out there probably wants to become a DJ, but I'm just trying to give you a lot of examples. And some of these you'll go, oh, that makes sense. I could see myself doing that. Some of you say, no, I could never do that. But I'm going to give you a lot of opportunities, a lot of examples, okay. So I started this company, DJconnection.com, so many years ago. And that's what I started it. And I was excited about it. I'm glad that I started it. I built it. I haven't owned it or ran it for many, many years. I recognize a few of the faces in a few of these videos, but I haven't ran the company for over 10 years. Then I started a company called Epic Photos. Haven't ran that company in 10 years. I'm just giving you examples. So you say I don't do the photography thing. Well, then I worked with a company called Innovations Dentistry. And I'm just giving you examples of companies I've been a part of. I'm just trying to fill the room with opportunities here. So dental. Then I worked with a company called ZFG Mortgage. And these are all companies I had long-term relationships with. Okay. And I'm not saying that you should work there or that you should. These are just giving you examples of real companies I've worked with. So it's not like a general idea. And with all of them, what I did with every industry, every time, I always say this. This is what my move is. In the DJ business, I said, look, I will DJ your wedding for $1. And then at the end of the wedding, you can pay me whatever price you think that you should pay me. And every bride at every bridal show said, what? I mean, it was like a 99%, huh? Hey, how much do you charge? $1, and you can pay what you think it's worth afterwards. They're like, are you serious? Yeah, I am serious. They're going, how does that work? I said, well, it's a very effective strategy because I'm going to wow you. And unless I want to commit financial suicide, you're going to want to, you're going to want to be cheering for me, and I'm going to want to wow you, right? And if I wow you, I get paid, right? That's the theory. And if you don't pay me, then whatever. And they're going, what? So I did that. I built a huge company, and it got to be where we're doing 4,000 weddings a year. But at that time, I couldn't get the account of Boeing I couldn't get the account of Coca-Cola. I could not get the account of all these people. And I was the only disc jockey in Tulsa, and maybe in the history of America, willing to do every event for $1. And I did that for like multiple years. And so I was working at Applebee's, Target, DirecTV. Everyone I knew said I was crazy to do that, but it produced a massive company. Then, I don't know, 7 years later, I started a photography company. And Mel, beautiful people like you would come by the beautiful booth and they would say, I'm getting married to a beautiful man like Rob. And I would say, because the brides would say, how much do you charge? You know? And I'd say, well, we do your bridals and engagements for free. And then if you just try us, that's so you can try it. And you don't owe us anything, no obligation. Free bridals or engagements. And if you like us, we'd love to do your wedding too. And by the way, just for using us for free, you have a chance to win a trip to Hawaii. And these brides were like, well, seems kind of okay, let's do it. And so I'm killing the bridal show. And I'm telling you, all my competitors were telling me, brides today, they are just so hard to work with. This was in 2010. They're so hard to work with. All the vendors were saying it's so hard to work with today's brides. Going back to 1999, all of these DJs, because I was part of DJ associations, they said it's too hard to get the corporate jobs. It's impossible to get through the labyrinth of corporate jackassery. Nobody can get the Boeing account. No one can get Coca-Cola. Nobody can get UPS. But I got them all for $1. Switching to mortgages. A guy by the name of Adnan Sheikh. I'll never forget Adnan Sheikh. Adnan says, I met him somehow. I think I met him on an airplane. And he's like, what do you do? I told him what I do. I said, hey, you just pay me per mortgage that closes. He says, well, I can't do that because of certain laws. I'm like, okay, pay me a percentage of the gross revenue. He says, I could probably do that. So I went to work for ZFG Mortgage, and I turned them into Tulsa's most successful mortgage company. And I just got paid per mortgage. So if you're out there today, one more, dentistry, the dental guy, Dr. Lindsay, he said, I heard about you through my bank. I would like to hire you. I have some concerns. I said, no problem. Just pay me a percentage of the growth. And next thing you know, Innovations Dentistry is a booming business. So all I could say, if you're watching today's show, the move I will teach you, no matter what the move is, no matter what industry you're in, when possible, if possible, tell people. Now, one of my buddies, he's a professional basketball coach. And he told me the other day, they're allowed to have 6 coaches on the roster. They have a budget. They're allowed to have 6 coaches, professional coaches, assisting the head coach. And he said, there's a crazy kid that showed up who was a very good Division I player. And he said, Coach, I'd like to work for free this year. And he's like, for free? It's like, yeah, I want to be on the NBA. I want to do it. And I want to work for free. And he said, they're going to bring him on as a coach. He's like, you can't turn down a guy who's willing to work for free. Now, going back, Bill Belichick, I'm not endorsing who he's dating right now and the whole thing, but Bill Belichick, he started working for free right out of college. He worked for free for the Baltimore Colts. Yep, that's a true story. I think of so many people that are super success stories that were willing to work for free. And so I would just say, if it is possible, if you're watching today's show, if you can do it, if you can live with your uncle, your cousin, your mom, your neighbor in your basement, somebody's basement, if you can take Lenny Kravitz, the professional musician, he took showers at a gym and lived in his car for 1 year to afford studio time. So I would say, if you're willing to work for free, or for commission only, that's a great place to start. Mel, so that'd be my super move. Long answer, but that'd be my super move number 1.
Well, one of the things, Clay, about you is that I think what people need to understand, what we're doing is we're solution oriented here, and we're also very sovereignty oriented. So we're trying to give people tools to increase their personal sovereignty, increase their wealth and happiness and whatnot. And
take
control. Take control. And what you explain and what you're talking about here is that you commit yourself to helping businesses and people, and you participate as they grow. So I think that's really important to understand. And you do it for a lot of folks, and you do it very effectively.
And I just want people to know, I appreciate you saying that, Rob. I just want people to know this. If you go to thrivetimeshow.com, I'm saying this so that people have some faith in this concept. You go here, you see thousands of case studies, thousands, I mean, literally thousands of examples of people that are just very normal, kind people that have grown multi massive $1 million companies. And I tell people, so if you're out there today and you feel kind of locked out of the workforce,
yeah,
you really got to make and I have another example that's so crazy. It's so crazy. It's so true. It's so nasty. It's so crazy. I've got a client on the West Coast, and I would not recommend this strategy, but he wanted to start a company. He's been a longtime client. He says, I don't have the money. He says, if you were me, what would you do? I said, so that's the question. Not what should you do? You're saying if I was you. He goes, yeah, what would you do? I said, dude, you got to call up your brother and live with him. You got to beg him to say, can I live with you? Can I live with you? Because you can't afford California. You know you can't afford that and an office space. He says, so you want me to call my brother? I said, you're on good terms, right? You said you and your brother are buddies. He said, so you want me to beg my brother for my wife and I to live with him so that I can afford to open my company? I said, yeah, that is what you should. That's what I would do. And he's like, oh, okay. So calls his brother. I wasn't there for the call, but something to the effect of, brother, I want to start a business in the service industry, and I need to get 50 clients before I'm solvent. And so during this startup phase, can I live with you, brother? And what I'll do is I'll buy my own groceries. I'll clean your house. I'll do whatever I have to do, dear brother. Please, because I can't afford the rent out here in the West Coast and to start a company. And the brother says, yeah, sure, what the heck? And he said it's been an awesome experience over the last year. He and his brother have reconnected like never before. His business is now booming, and he's to a point where he's about ready to move out. And that was a guy who came to a conference and told me he had no money. So I would just say, step number one is I would really, really offer to work for free if possible. And step two, I would do whatever you can to cut expenses. I didn't plan on talking about this on today's show, but there's a guy, sad story, true story. I'll be pretty vague about it. But a man who's in his mid-50s called me after his son passed away. So a guy in his 50s who listens to our show a lot, his son passed away at the age of 20. And he called me and he said, hey, I listen to your show all the time. You had one of your shows you did a long time ago about cutting expenses. And my son died. And he's kind of crying as he's telling the story. And he's like, my son died. And I didn't figure you'd even answer when I text your number. So I'm kind of shocked we're having this conversation. I said, no problem, man. He said, my son died. We've got 2 adopted girls. And my son died a year ago. So I did your thing and I cut all our expenses. And so my wife and I moved from a bigger house into a smaller house. And she now stays home and raises the kids. And we're both going, I don't know why we didn't do that 5 years ago. I have no idea. He's like, but it took me having my 20-year-old son taken from me in a car accident to value time more than money. And he's like, we sold her car. So I go, so how do you get to work? He said, she drives me to work. So it's a good chance for us to talk every day. And our adopted girls are in the back seats. We talk to them every morning. And she picks me up at work. We have 1 car, a smaller house. And he's like, we did the math and she was working full time and it almost didn't cover the cost of daycare. And this is a guy in his 50s who was weeping. I mean, literally weeping on the phone. It was like a financial crash course while weeping. And he was just like, I don't know what we were doing. They had the big McMansion, the big house with the gate, all these expenses. And so I would just say my second tip is you really need to cut expenses because we as Americans, we have astronomical phone bills, unbelievable car payments. We have a lot of things that we do that we perceive to be necessities that we don't actually need. And so I would encourage you, my second tip would be to cut expenses. And for context, my wife and I, and Mel, you've heard the story a little bit, but my wife and I, we did live without air conditioning and heat for the first 2 years of our marriage. We did have 1 car. I worked at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV. She did work at Target, or she did work at Target as well. She also worked at Office Depot. So my wife was doing 2 jobs. I'm doing 3 jobs. And we did that because we had to start somewhere. So if you're watching today's show, I know you can do it. I know you can do it. I know, Mel, for your career, I think your listeners would love to know that when you moved from, how you grew up and where you grew up to California, I mean, didn't you become a waitress or something while you were?
Oh, yeah. No, I was a bartender for years. In college, I started, right? I went to school in Manhattan, so I needed a job. I started bartending at 19, and I went back often, and then I became a trainer and a spin instructor, and, I'm a writer. You can't survive counting on the thing that you want to happen. You have to actually pay your bills. So I always had a second job, and I to this day, I'm grateful because if all else fails, I can go back and be a bartender again because I had to do it for so long. But yeah, no, I get it. Well, that's the whole thing. Most people aren't willing to do whatever they have to do to make their dreams come true. And that often means, doing jobs, what some would call a B job until the A job works out. And you can't live. What do you always say? Something is not hope is not a strategy, Rob says
Right.
a lot. So, if I wanted to keep living in LA or New York City, you need a job.
Now, with the limited time we have on today's show, I'm going to power into a case study or case studies real quick. So I want people to get some hope they can do this. This gentleman right here, Okay. And this gentleman right here, these are 2 case studies. Okay. So this guy is Gabe Salinas to my right. Great guy, Gabe Salinas. He's an East Coast entrepreneur. This guy right here, West Coast entrepreneur, West and East. Okay. The guy on the East Coast, he calls me up. He says, here's the deal. I want to start a window cleaning like empire. And I go, okay, let's do it. This is his story. Gabe Salinas, windowninjas.com.
Gosh, man, time flies. I'd say right around 4 or 5 years ago. I just kind of felt like we were stuck and my wheels weren't moving, and I had this goal and I just didn't really know how to get there. So you guys actually helped me with that. And, I reached out to you guys. We started our relationship. We started our coaching sessions, and you guys helped me build a lot of the systems that we have now. But, Clay, had I not actually sat down and took the time and the energy to reach out to you and then set aside time every single week to actually work on the specific goal of scaling Window Ninjas, then it would have never happened, and we wouldn't have it wouldn't have come to fruition like it is today.
Gabe Salinas, welcome on. From startup to 11 locations.
Wow.
Locations in under 5 years, 11 locations. And this guy right here, this guy does more sales every week than most small businesses do per year. So this guy right here, and what does he do? He sells concrete blocks. Okay. So, and he was a startup. Okay. So here we go.
Doing great. Appreciate you having me. Listened to this show for a long time, so it feels surreal to be on here. My name is Luke Boddy, Boddy. So I always say it's BO to the double DY, yo. And my company is called Concrete Block Supply.
And I'm not asking you to share about your financial numbers, but I think it's safe to say you've had exponential growth. Maybe that's a safe way to say it. You've had exponential growth. Is that a safe way to describe the growth that you've had there at Concrete Block Supply?
Yeah, we've done pretty well. Yeah, we've been working together almost 4 years. So it was.
And again, these are people that they just came to a conference and they're like, so this guy, I'm just gonna put some meat on the bone here. If you type in bin block supply, anybody out there, we can teach you how to do this at a conference. We can teach you. So if you type in bin block supply, he sells concrete blocks. Okay. And he now comes up top in the world for this search term. And the whole world comes to him. I mean, we're talking about the Colorado Rockies, the Super Bowl, the State Farm Stadium, and they just reach out to him for concrete blocks, and he's the concrete block king. I don't know if anybody even knows that's a niche, but this is what he does. He's the concrete block king from a complete startup to a super success story. The other guy, he cleans windows, and you go, really? Yeah, cleans windows. And these guys, they're living it up, man. These are like the kings of entrepreneurship. They're killing the game. So you say, well, how do I do that? Okay, well, let's get into that. Okay, so step one, we talk about it often, but I think if we do, we emphasize it. We're going to get there. If you have this entrepreneurial niche, you're going, I've got this entrepreneurial. It's like an itch, but I think it's also a niche. And you've got the itch. Something about me wants to start my own thing. I don't know if I hate poverty, but it just kind of itches. And you're trying to find your niche. And Mel, I think that's where a lot of people are at. It's like they've got this itch. They're like, I just want to start my own thing, but people are around you going, Carl, what's wrong? And you're like, I don't know. I just can't work in this corporate environment anymore. This cubicle's killing me. And there's something about you. I need to be an actor, a dentist, a doctor, a lawyer, an entrepreneur, a plumber, or something. I just can't do it anymore. I hate corporate America. I hate the BS. I hate the political correctness. I hate the labyrinth of the phone tree where you press 7 to press 4 to press 3 to leave a voicemail for your boss who's out of town. I hate the HR compliance. I hate the wokeness. I just need it. I need my own thing. If that's you, that's why we do the workshops. Mel, you've been to the workshops. I'll pull it up here.
Yeah.
But people, if you want to be in the room or you're around people who are like, these guys didn't know they wanted to be window cleaners or bin block suppliers. They just knew I cannot do the corporate thing anymore. And Mel, you've been to these. We got the next one coming up September 25, 26. You're going to be one of the featured speakers there. Eric Trump's going to be in the house. Dr. Stella's going to be there. Yep. Amanda Grace will be in the place. Can you explain what it's like, Mel, to be in the room with a bunch of people? By the way, folks, it's thrivetimeshow.com, thrivetimeshow.com. When you're in the room with a bunch of people that all have the same itch and they're wanting to scratch it, can you explain what that's like?
Yeah, it's amazing. There's so much energy. And what's interesting is my friend, because obviously Hollywood is imploding. She's been a very successful commercial actress, but times are changing. AI is coming in. She was freaking out. She saw our show. She called me and she goes, I'm going to go to Tulsa. She goes, I'm sick of waiting. I don't want to go, put on the suit and go interview for jobs I don't want. I need to figure out, I have all these different skills. I don't know which one to look at. And I said, what you're going to do is be surrounded by people that give you, everyone there is positive. Everyone's there to make their lives better. Clay is so enthusiastic. He is a tried and true way to scale up any business into a success if you're willing to put in the time, effort, and energy. She's like, I'm willing to do anything. I just need a plan. I need to figure out the systems and structure and how to do this. And I don't know how to build a website. I said, don't worry about it. You just come, you sit down, and not only is Clay going to go through it and teach you so much and you'll get a book, but you're going to have 200 other people there that are all interested as well. And then there's a networking aspect to it. And then there's a meet and greet aspect to it. And by the time you leave one of your events, not only have you had an amazing time, have you learned so much, are you leaving with notes and a book and ideas, but you have, 15 numbers of people that are going to cheer you on along the way that you can build, and throw ideas off of. It's just, to me, for everyone that I'm talking to right now that's worried either about AI taking their job or they hate corporate America or, things aren't fair. And that also, like we know, Trump is going to be putting, things all over the country in places that have been left behind or run down. So there's Main Street everywhere that has to be rebuilt. So I know somebody who used to work at a florist as a kid. So she's saying, well, maybe I would start a florist. And I said, that's great. They're going to need that in Main Street. Or, a lot of my friends that are out in LA, they need a second job. Well, I can clean houses, but how would I do that? Well, you know what? Come to Clay's conference and you'll start a business. And this is what I'm saying. What you need is the systems, the encouragement, the other people around you that believe in themselves as well, and it's contagious. And frankly, I think you're tried and true. Have been proven that your strategies to building a company, the success, being honest with yourself, because you're somebody that it's no BS either way. You don't take BS, you don't give BS. And to me, I think it's the best thing anyone could do that right now is looking at the future and thinking, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I want to do something different.
Well, let's get into, I'm going to give you a bunch of examples. I want to fill the room with hope and optimism. I think hope comes from knowing that there's an actual plan here. Okay. So Fern Valley Soaps, Fern Valley, this incredible woman, she makes soap from goats. So she uses natural organic materials coming from goats to make soap. And she came to one of our conferences. Now she's selling goat soap all over the place. You go, really? Is this a real thing? Yeah, she's based in California. And you say, well, tell me the plan we had to take her through. And I'll get into it. It's the same for every business, and there's nuances to it. We had to find a problem. So I'm going, what kind of people really want to use goat soap? Like, who actually cares about soap so much they want to buy goat soap from an obscure website based in California? And this person's going, well, the goat soap, if you use it, it gets your hands really clean. So if you're like a mechanic, it's perfect. I go, great. Okay. So step one, we find a problem. So the problem we have here is we got dirty hands. Okay. So we got mechanics have dirty hands. That's the problem. Mechanics have dirty hands. Who else is the problem? She says, anybody who works on a farm, they have dirty hands. Okay. And what else? Anybody else? She said, so he makes the list. I go, okay, great. So that's the problem. Okay. So now we want to solve the problem. So what's the solution? She says, well, it's got my goat soap. We sell the goat soap. I said, okay, we got to sell the goat soap. 3. Okay. So how much are you going to charge for this? Okay. So we come up with the pricing model, right? And then we come up with a 3-legged marketing stool, the 3-legged marketing stool. So you say, well, what is the marketing stool? What's the plan? What's the balanced 3-legged marketing stool? For this person, they do Dream 100 phone calls. Okay. So they're calling automotive repair shops, and they're calling automotive industry people, and they're calling farms. The next thing is she would like to get on podcasts, okay? Podcasts. And then the third thing is we want to call actual stores. So what are we doing? We're calling, these are like grocery stores. We're calling stores that are healthy, organic stores. And then this Dream 100 list, this is the Dream 100 list to businesses where they would be likely to buy it. Anyway, long story short, she's got now stores carrying her products. Stores that are carrying her products. She's got automotive repair shops that are buying her stuff. She's got farms using her stuff, and she has a very financially successful business and a bunch of cute goats. Now, that would not have happened just by wanting it to happen. We had to find a problem, okay, find a solution, sell the solution. And that's where a lot of people get stuck, Mel. A lot of people, Rob, they are good people. They're humble people. Your listeners are the most humble people ever. And I find that most conservative, or I would say critical thinkers, struggle with this part. I'm going to put this in a subtle 36-point font because people struggle to sell something. And if you can't sell, things do not go well and your business goes to hell. Okay. So if you cannot sell, things do not go well and you go into financial hell. And I want to get your thoughts on that, Rob, because most people I meet, they go, hey, I have no problem finding the problem. I got no problem coming up with a solution, but selling it, that is the problem. The inventor of the grill blazer. I remember this guy, Rob. This is Rob. This is the inventor. This was Bob Healy, the inventor of the grill blazer. He was just like, sales? Are you cursing? Is that word allowed? Sales? Are you cursing? Because the word sales, Rob, it's perceived as a curse word by many people. The idea of selling, pushing a product, hustling. Why is that, Rob? Why is sales perceived as a dirty word?
It's interesting. I think particularly if you're a good person and you're godly, or you care about others, you don't really want to, and you're conservative maybe, or you really, you feel like you're a good person. You don't want to be asking people for help. You don't want to push something on people. You don't feel great about asking for anything. And, even if you put all this energy and effort into what you do, you think it's just going to happen. And it doesn't just happen. Not even a little.
Right.
Because people need that they just the way you needed motivation.
Yep.
They needed motivation. And selling is not selling, it's communicating.
There it is.
Right. And so, and you need to communicate with them in a certain way, and you need to do it with confidence, and you need to do it, with a genuine.
We're scared of a no. Most people, I think, are scared of no.
Yeah, that's part of it too. But it's even more. I think it's much more than that. It's like deep psychological. I mean, just like we talk about, asking for support.
I wanted to bring this up real quick because I was selling Mel without your permission to somebody that I don't make any money off selling it. I'm talking to somebody who I believe should interview you because they were talking about, they said, we want to travel around the country and interview people that have a pulse on mainstream and interview them as a feature piece on this nationwide publication. And I said, oh, you got to interview Eric Trump. You got to interview Eric. I think Eric is, he obviously comes from the Trump family and there's a certain status of that, but he also runs real businesses and he knows the waiters and the waitresses and the real people that have real jobs. And so I think Eric is a great one. And I made a list of people, and on that list was you. And this person was not familiar with your broadcast yet. And they go, why? And I said, because I believe that Mel has hopped into the world of a lot of women, men, they grow up, they want to be celebrities or stars or in Hollywood or in movies or music or entertainment. And Mel's done that. But then Mel's also been the person, teaching the spin class, now she's the podcaster. So in my mind, her life is sort of a journey through a lot of different careers that entrepreneurs have thought about, ones they didn't want to have, but they had to have. And in my opinion, her migration of her career is similar to that of the average American. So I think there's a lot of value there. And as we're going through the conversation, the guy's like, well, who else has she interviewed? And I said, well, Roseanne and Jim Brewer and Dr. Navarro and Kash Patel. I don't know. A bunch of people that are much more important than me, and they're going, why are you selling this? So, because there's that question that happens, right? Why are you selling this so hard? I'm like, I mean, she's the best. And so, I care enough about you to know that your quality, these are words I said, I care enough about you that I know your show quality is probably missing the mark by a little bit if you don't have Mel. And I'm not going to now, but I'll tell you a story of what I didn't do. I had a young man, I won't mention his name, but he's, you know what I mean? It's a conservative celebrity thing. He wants to be a conservative celebrity. And we all know people that are like that. And he's not really conservative. He's not really a celebrity, but he wants to be. And he's getting photos of all the celebrities. And he's always trying to get me to share his stuff. And he wants to be on my show so he can say he's on my show. And we all know those kind of people. And this guy's not really principled. He's just trying to find a wave and ride on it. And God bless him. He's a young guy, but he's like, hey, could you share my tweet? I'm going, no. Like, why? I'm like, because there's nothing we could learn from the tweet
right
that we don't already know. And it's just you and a famous person again. And I love you so much, but I just can't take my social media and my audience and turn it into a platform where I just am like putting people on my platform that want to be famous. And now if you had a hot take, you want to be interviewed about a subject, but just talking about the subject of you, no go. Offers no value, doesn't solve problems for my listeners, whatever. And I'm just saying this. So again, I'm okay with selling something if I believe in it, or pushing something if I believe in it. So you talk about this goat soap stuff here. I mean, I gotta be honest with you. I'm going, I don't know about the goats. I don't know about the soap, the goat. I don't know. Could you send me some stuff? Could you send it to me? Could you send me some of the stuff? Because my wife will try it out. My wife will try it out, and she says, yeah. She sends it to me. My wife is like, this is the best soap ever. Why are you withholding the soap from our family? What is wrong with you? We all need this soap. Why have you been hiding the soap? That's a real story. I mean, it's real. And then you think about Bob, the grill gun. This isn't pretty cool. It's like a flamethrower, but it's like a non-military use flamethrower. And Bob, he started off as a client, and we helped him grow this thing. And he says, "Can you help me sell it?" I said, "Why don't you bring it to the conference? Why don't you bring the prototype to the conference, and we'll let people try it who have no experience with you or it. Can we do that? Could you bring it to the conference?" And he's like, yeah, I'll bring it to the conference. So he brings it to the conference. This is kind of what happened here.
I'm Bob Healy, and I'm originally from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm in the charcoal grilling industry, and the name of my business is Grill Blazer. How will I apply what I've learned so far into my business?
So he's, it's a lot of background noise. I get it. But anyway, so we can bring it to the conference. Everyone loves it. And then we shipped it to famous celebrity influencers. We sent it to Dude Perfect. We sent a sample prototype to Dude Perfect. Watch this.
Gentlemen, let me introduce you to the grill gun. I would have greened that anyway. I need that. Yes.
I remember seeing him at you had him at one of your events that we were at last year.
Anyway, this product went on to sell thousands and thousands and thousands of units. And it's just, but we sent out the product to influencers. So we say, how does this apply to me? And again, we it's kind of like working for free when you send your product out to huge shows. By the way, Dude Perfect, folks, is one of the largest YouTube channels in the world. Dude Perfect. I didn't know these guys. Turns out, while sending our product out to Dude Perfect, it turns out there was one guy who knew the guys at Dude Perfect. So there was like a guy that
61.4 million. Wow.
Yeah. So there's a guy that I know who ends up knowing them from McKinney, Texas.
Uh-huh.
But again, I call this the billiard theory. When you don't know what to do, just break, and the balls will scatter and opportunities will show up. And so I just sent it. And then this guy calls me. He's like, "Hey, do you know Dude Perfect?" I said, "No." He's like, "Well, you just sent a sample of your product to my friend who runs the show, and he wanted to know if you guys are legit." And I'm going, "How do you know them?" He's like, "I've known these guys since high school. They're my friends." That's how that kind of thing happens. So you got to just take massive action. Step number 4, nail it and scale it. I told Bob, once we start selling these grill blazers, we got to scale it. He said, "What does that mean?" I'm talking about systems and processes and checklists and quality control and manufacturing hundreds of thousands of units. And I'm talking about it. I remember making a manual for these. We sat in a room for an entire day making an operations manual for how to use the grill gun. And they're hilarious videos. It's like the grill gun. Let me see if I can find it. And it's like these videos, we had to make them because we had never, this is and by the way, we're sending out examples to podcasters all over the country, more samples, sending them out here.
It's April, and you know what that means. It's officially grilling season.
We were just because some of these guys thought it was Christmas when we sent them the products. Okay. And that's, but making the operations manuals less fun, negotiating with manufacturers less fun. Then step 5, once you've nailed it and scaled it, then you can provide opportunities for others via maybe franchising, or they can invest in your business. And that's what we did here with this company, Window Ninjas. Now you can buy a franchise from windowninjas.com if you want to. But if you're out there today, I don't care where you're at. If you're like this gentleman in his 50s and you feel like you can't find a job, I want you to invest in yourself. And someone says, "Well, you're trying to sell me something." Listen, you can name your price. It's $250 or whatever price you want to pay. I challenge you. Come to Tulsa, Jerusalem. Come here to Tulsa, Oklahoma. We're bringing in Eric Trump. We're bringing in Mel K. We're bringing in hundreds of super success stories. You can name your price. We're going to treat you first class. If you want a VIP ticket, if you use promo code Mel K, you get a discount off of the VIP tickets. If you want to have a chance to win a backstage pass, use promo code Mel K. I'm telling folks, this is the hottest deal in the history of business conferences. You talk about Grant Cardone, no problem with Grant Cardone. You talk about Patrick Bet-David, I got no problem with Patrick Bet-David. You talk about Tony Robbins. These are just examples of people in the space. Why don't you call them up today, folks, and see how much a ticket costs? Just try. I mean, these are $250 or whatever price you want to pay. And you say, well, why would I do it? I feel like I'm called to do it. I feel like it's something I do. It's my gifting. It's my skill set. And if you're out there today and you want to have a good time, we laugh, we learn, we teach you how to grow a company. We serve great food both days. It's awesome. It is going to be great. And you get to come to my campus, which is kind of like a hobby farm.
I'm excited.
Surrounded by, I'm always doing updates. Mel, it's a hell of a time. You're going to have a great time here at Tulsa Roost.
I always do. I always do. And I'm excited because Rob and I are actually working with you. After I was doing a couple shows about empowering people to empower themselves, to take their future into their own hands, I'm looking at Rob like, we need to do all this. We need to, figure out. And so I did the 13-point, because you can do the 13-point call with Clay that you go through. And I said, let's just do a 13-point checklist call with Clay after we did it on the show. And then we've started working with you, and we've cut things. We've added things, we've gotten rid of things, and it's great having a coach that has worked with so many clients in so many different areas that you can but it's always kind of the same. You have a model, and that model works, and we're already feeling much more comfortable and successful just by taking the move to
action.
By taking action. So I love going to Tulsa, to your place, and we are super excited. And I have friends that are coming that are in the position of that 50-year-old guy. There are a lot of people out there like that, particularly with the threat of AI and all this nonsense. There's going to be capital coming into America. Why not make sure that it's coming to you in your small business? And this is how to do it. So I'm excited.
Mel, I wanted to say this real quick. And Rob, I'm not hitting on your wife. I wanted to share this real quick here. I think Mel has the same communication style of my favorite comedians. Like, I think there's a thing there that you do, and I'm excited for people to see it in person, because when you speak, if people see you speak on the Reawaken Tour and other events where you're speaking about a subject that's not maybe a more serious subject, and they see that, and it always gets a standing ovation. Seriously, it always does. And it resonates with people. But when you're in your element also, there's a natural comedic energy that you put off. And a lot of our speakers do too. And I think it's a charming, fun thing. And I'm excited to have your listeners get to see you having a good time. And, we might not be able to stop everything the deep state's doing, but we can have a hell of a time.
We're going to live your best life now. Take control of your life. Clay Clark is the guy I go to, and many, many, many people do as well, to figure out how to do that. Take your life into your hands and be your own hero. And thank you, Clay Clark. We look forward to Tulsa. Join us there. Go to Thrive Time, get your tickets, name your own price, and we'll meet you in Tulsa. Thanks, Clay.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
4,000% from February to February. Now I can better that. Okay, Clay, I don't think you know this. I'm pinching myself, and if I cry, forgive me. In the last 2.5 days, we have bettered our entire month of February in the last 2.5 days. So, and the phone's blowing up. Everything's just blowing up. You're right. It is like a rocket ship. So we're pinching ourselves, actually.
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York, acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say.
But I recognized at the age of 15, I'm going, you know what? I am not going to live that way. And so I started a company out of my parents' basement called djconnection.com. And I decided I am going to have success. And so I reached out to millionaires and people that I kind of knew through church and friendships and parents of my friends. And I said, what book would you recommend that I read? I'm a 15-year-old asking this question. True story. And I kept being told, you got to read
Hello, hello, hello. Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Radio Show. It's an exciting time. Also, I think a treacherous time, a spooky time also. But it's always, danger is a good time. Today, my guest is Clay Clark, and I went out with Tom Wheelwright to visit Clay with Eric Trump also. And the reason I want to talk to Clay this morning is a very important subject called study. And the reason I say that is things are changing so fast, and many people are completely missing the show. Things are changing at rapid speed. Technology is changing. And so I went to Tulsa, again, with Tom Wheelwright and Eric Trump. And the thing I was so impressed about Clay is this word called study. I don't know. You guys must be in your water or something, Clay. But boy, I was so impressed how big you guys are. But what really impressed me was you have this huge congregation. They're all about guys your age. They're on fire. And you start your classes at 5 in the morning. Now, let me talk to you about study here. We show our books here. Now, this is how I study. This is the creature from Jekyll Island. It's on the Fed. And Clay's doing the same thing. We study. So I go out to Clay's place in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He's built this huge compound out there. And you guys start at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's not by Zoom. They drive there. They show up 5 o'clock, bright-haired, bushy-tailed, and all this. And they're on fire. Your group is on fire. So that's what was on Clay, this technology. You tell your group, I was so impressed because, like I said, studies became a bad word. I got into fights in my own company because our staff didn't want to study anymore. And I don't know how they cannot do that. So Clay, anyway, welcome to the Rich Dad Radio Show. That's what I want to talk to you about is how do you do it? 5 o'clock in the morning, you have hundreds of people showing up in your huge auditorium on your property to study. Anyway, welcome to the show, Clay. And what turns you on so much? That's what I want to know. Give us a little about your background.
My name is Karime Schofield, and the name of our company is Whistle While You Clean.
I am Sophia Schofield.
We live in Cincinnati, Ohio, and we service the tri-state, so Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana.
We were getting a phone call, and we were like, why is someone calling our business line? That's unusual, and we picked it up, and it was a lead.
I mean, it's been incredible, Clay. We've gone from 0 to like 100% growth. Like we're like a full functioning company. It's great. Like we're blown away at how well we're doing. So working with you guys have really taught us a lot about generating leads and pursuing our Dream 100. So we have a list of customers that we want to market to. And so we've been making phone calls, we've been showing up in person. We're trying to get near the businesses that they would visit if they were visiting like a hair salon or something. And then we start calling them and we just start pursuing them. And then the other thing that we do is when we do cleans, we take a lot of video testimonials and we post those to our website so other customers can see. And then we also upload a lot of images of the things that we do. And so we're also asking our clients for Google reviews after we've cleaned their houses. And so it's this constant like cycle of doing those things over and over and over again. I would say if you're on the fence, go to one of Clay's conferences. They are hilarious. They're fun. They're educational. They're so good that even my teenagers like them. And I would say don't let fear hold you back. If you want to start a business, do the obvious thing and hire someone who knows how to run businesses. If I wanted to get in shape, I'd hire a gym person, a personal trainer. This is like the personal training for business. It has been absolutely amazing. I mean, our coach is encouraging. When he first met with us, he said, do we want him to be like a drill sergeant with us? What level of intensity do we want him to give us? And I will say he is incredibly encouraging all the time. And he just hits the same mark with us every single time. It's very repetitive. but I feel like I think we both really learn a lot every time we sit down and have a conversation with him over the phone. It's he keeps pushing us to go further, and he can recognize when we're afraid to do something, and he'll give us a little bit of grace, but that next week he's drilling us again, like pushing us to go harder. Our no-brainer offer is we are offering your first clean for $1. And that sounds absolutely insane. It even sounded insane when I was talking over it with our business coach. And I will tell you that that has generated some of our hugest clients. I mean, that has been like a game changer because it opened up the door to more clients, more recommendations, more leads. And we were surprised how far that dollar clean got us.
How important has it been for you to work out that scripting, even though you offer $1 for the first clean? How important has it been for you to nail that down?
It's been really important because it kind of it hones in so that you're not just all over the place when you're trying to explain what it is that you do. And a lot of times it's like you're a good person offering a good product and you have integrity and you want to communicate that. But when you go to communicate without a script or without practice, it's just like a mess coming out of your mouth, as opposed to having this, honed in practice where you know what you're going to say, you know how you're going to say it, and you can almost expect better results when you do it that way.
Had you ever been an entrepreneur before starting this particular business?
No, never.
Did you ever think about wanting to own your own business someday? Or what was the first time you thought, maybe I would like to open my own business?
Absolutely. I've probably been dreaming about it for about 10 years.
Okay, and let me go to your daughter here. Had you ever thought about wanting to team up and open your own business, or was that something that you were maybe excited about, or not so much?
Well, for me, my parents would always listen to your podcast and business podcast. And as I started listening to them, I started realizing that I wanted to own a business.
It's www.whistlewhileyouclean.com. Honestly, the hardest thing was getting over the fear. It was the fear of the unknown. There was like a cloud of doubt that, you can't do this, you're gonna fail. There was a few sleepless nights there when we did pull the trigger and join your team and start the coaching process. Even my husband put a little bit of pressure on me from time to time because it was just absolutely scary to take that jump and actually start a business.
Whoa.